Hello, welcome to my TLC video where I explain why I teach TLC and how I became a soul midwife. There are going to be some stories in here about my journey taking care of my nan on her death, which may create some emotion in you. Take some time out. You don't have to listen to this, and you can pause and move past it if you need to. But I need to be honest and real with you here because this is why I'm so passionate about teaching TLC. So I think I'll begin with very briefly how I became a soul midwife. So back in 2012, my nan, who I was very, very close with, she's my ultimate hero, became very unwell. And she did end up dying, which I will come on to a bit further. She died peacefully in my local hospice. And they were incredible with us after what had been quite a traumatic journey to get there. I immediately knew that I needed to pay back and wanted to pay back to say thank you for all the care and attention they'd given my nan and the family. My nan was a matriarch and all she cared about was the family and the fact that she would have known we were really taken care of while she was in the hospice, and I know that would have put her at peace. I really felt I wanted to pay that back. So I registered and signed up to become a ward volunteer. So I was on inpatients, making tea for patients in inpatient unit who were unfortunately on the dying journey or had terminal illness and were needing respite. And I used to make tea, sit with the patients, talk to them if they could, keep them calm, just literally be there for them and their families and their loved ones. And I thought I was going to be there for a few months to say thank you. But that was back in 2012, no, January 2013 when I started. And I'm recording this video in January 2021 and I'm still volunteering at the hospice. So yeah, it's been a long time. But they're worth it, and they are a fantastic place, and I will always be grateful for what they did for us as a family. So, but I found I know I was volunteering making tea, but I found being there really natural for me, and I really started to see that I was making quite a big difference to people's journey. I obviously wasn't the only one doing that, but I didn't realise that I would have so much of an impact by being present with somebody. So in 2015, I had spent a long period of time, I think it was twice a week for 5 months in the hospice, covering a few people's shifts. And I had sat with a lot of people as they died. And one of the patients actually ended up sending a message to me to say that I walk in the room and put them at peace and their family at peace, and that I should look into being a soul midwife. I had never heard of the term soul midwifery, and like most people, thought midwife, babies. I've never thought about that. But something deep within me stirred. In fact, I don't think I think on one other time where I've had such a deep, like, oh, this is your destiny type feeling. And I knew straight away that I needed to go and have a look. So I Googled soul midwives, the school came up. That was the first knowledge that it was end-of-life work. I had no intention of turning into an end-of-life practitioner. It wasn't even on my radar. I was running my own small business marketing consultancy, self-employed, so I was happy doing what I was doing. But something stirred within, and I knew straight away. So I didn't even look at the syllabus or anything. I just emailed the school and asked whether I could book on to the level 1. To be entered into the school, you have to do some pre-work, and thankfully Felicity Warren, the teacher, sent me all the pre-work and I was accepted into the school, and I went on the training journey. I then went on to do level 2 after my 6-month apprenticeship. And then I also learned and trained to become a TLC trainer. So only fully qualified with lots of experience soul midwives can do TLC training. And I took that training for this reason. TLC was designed in conjunction with the school to teach anyone how to be there for somebody on their dying journey. emotionally and holistically. We don't cover spirituality and spiritual matters at all. We cover how to emotionally be present. We understand the dying journey and how anybody can holistically help. They are simple, ancient skills that we have all forgotten, but make a massive difference to someone's end-of-life journey and takes away the trauma of losing a loved one. Grief will never take away, but taking away some trauma on that journey makes a massive difference. So when my nan was dying, unfortunately, she went through a stage of death, which is quite common stage. Everyone goes through this stage, but she went through it and had a lot of difficulty through this stage, which is unusual. And it was really hard for me to watch. And I think my mum was there as well at the time. She was screaming for help, but you couldn't touch her. She was in distress. I've never experienced anything like it. So I was also having to not only watch somebody in that level of distress, I was having to watch somebody I loved most in the world in that level of distress. And it created a level of trauma for all of us and the family involved. She was on the highest level of painkillers that you could imagine, so there was nothing more than medical teams could do. The absolutely wonderful Marie Curie nurse that we'd had for a few hours that night, even she was really emotional because she didn't know how to comfort her. Bear in mind, I'm not criticising or saying this nurse didn't have the ability at all. This Marie Curie nurse was a wonderful person and we are so grateful for her to be there. But nurses aren't taught this stuff, the TLC stuff. And nurses don't have time to do this stuff either. TLC, Soul Midwifery, complements the medical practitioners beautifully in end-of-life and palliative care support. So that's why I genuinely really am passionate about teaching TLC to as many people as I can, because if I'd have known about the dying journey and if I would have understood how I could have been more present to support my nan, I know our family wouldn't have been so traumatised. My nan's journey would have been more pleasant and more peaceful, and it just would have made a big difference to everybody involved. I know this course has changed lives, and this is for people who have personally joined me for the training because they can go on to take care of a loved one, or for professionals. So I have, in 2020, I was contracted by Public Health England to teach my local care homes, the care workers, how to sit more with the dying. They learnt so much. I had some amazing feedback, which I'm sure you'll see on this page. And I have also taught celebrants, holistic practitioners, people who have wanted to train as soul midwives, because TLC actually acts as part of the prerequisite to join the school. And individuals and anybody actually who really needs and wants to understand and accept that death is part of life. It's a life-changing course and I love teaching it. It's raw, it can be emotional, but I create a safe space for everybody who comes, and you're guaranteed to leave with love in your heart and a more profound experience to support the dying. So thank you. If you are interested in coming along to any of my TLC training, keep in touch. I will put the next dates of workshops and any available underneath here. If you work for an organisation and you want to know how I can come and teach your team, whether that's in healthcare or even in business, a lot of members of staff may have elderly parents that they might need to care for. This is life-changing training, and it's one day. It's a one-day workshop that can change someone's life. So please feel free. I teach teams of up to 10 at one time. I keep the numbers small because of the nature of the work and what I talk about, and to keep everybody safe. So just get in touch, message me, contact me. All my details are on this page below, and allow me to share this massive gift and a beautiful training and empower people to support the dying further. Lots of love.